So here we are today. Now we've got a portfolio. It's over £11 million worth of value. It takes me around 5 hours a week to manage. The whole portfolio brings in around just over £25,000 net per calendar month. They would have a free house. I started investing in property way back in 2001. At that time I was a dentist. I'm married to my lovely husband Steve, who was a GP. And we had great incomes from our job, but we were really stressed. We were working really hard, exchanging time for money. Then in 2001, my friends Miles and Joe came for Sunday lunch. But what they explained to me at the time was they had bought a little house near the station in Derby, which is not far from where we were now living. And they explained that they were buying this house on something called a buy-to-let mortgage, which I'd never even heard of. And what they explained was that the buy-to-let mortgage cost was less than the amount of money that the tenant will be paying them in rent. The mortgage that they had on that property was going to last for a whole 25 years. It was a repayment mortgage, which meant that they were reducing the capital of that mortgage every single month. And after 25 years, they would have a free house. And that sounded amazing to me because I thought, wow, somebody else over a 25-year period has actually bought that property for Miles and Joe. And I said, that's an amazing thing. And they said, yes, it is. You should do it. So I did. So in 2001, at that time, the house that we were then living in, I persuaded the long-suffering Steve that we should refinance or put another mortgage on that house. And the money that we got from that mortgage, we would then use as deposits for buy-to-let properties, or so I thought. But the very risk-averse Steve was like, oh, what if interest rates go up? What if house prices crash? That's far too risky. So what he said we should do is we should just buy some little 1 and 2 bedroom starter homes for cash, not put mortgages on them at all. I couldn't persuade him to do anything else, so that's what we did. We went out and bought 5 1 and 2 bed starter homes in and around Derby for cash. That's what we did. And then we had to wait. We weren't forcing the appreciation by carrying out a refurb on it. We waited for house prices to go up over time. So we had 5 1 and 2 bedroom starter homes in and around Derby, which were tenanted and they were going up in value. But they took 2 or 3 years to go up in value. After 2 or 3 years, we were able to remortgage those houses and put mortgages on them, which took out some equity from the houses, and then use that to fund more properties. That was what we call a single let strategy. The vital flaw in this plan really is we weren't doing what Miles and Joe had said. We weren't putting mortgages on them. So if you have the standard buy-to-let mortgage in the UK, you have a 25% deposit. So that means with one pot of money, because you only have to put 25% of the money in, you can effectively buy 4 times as many properties as if you buy them all for cash. I hope everybody's following this. So we have these 5 properties going up, and after a couple of years they were worth more and we took the money out to buy more properties. But had we put mortgages on them, if Steve had let me do that, use leverage as we call it, in the best possible way, we would have had 4 times 5, which is 20 properties. And all of those would have gone up in value, so we would have been doing really well. So that is the strategy that we now employ. So when we buy our properties, we initially buy them for cash using either money that we've refinanced from other properties or using investor funds. So we borrow money from other investors to buy properties and give them a great return on their investment. And then after 6 months, the latest will be 6 months, but sometimes some lenders will let you do it after 3 months. After we've carried out the refurb, we will then refinance the properties, pull as much money out as possible and use that to go again. So that's a much more powerful strategy. That means you are compounding, you are growing your portfolio significantly quicker than we were doing. So that's a buy, refurbish, refinance strategy as opposed to the one that we were employing way back in the early 2000s, which is a single let strategy. And when we go out to look at some of the properties later, I'll show you that not only were we kind of using the wrong finance structure for our properties, but we're also buying the wrong type of property. So here we are today. Now we've got a portfolio. It's over £11 million worth of value, and it's got around 60% equity across that portfolio. So we have substantial, if you like, had substantial capital growth in the property. If we had to sell the properties, we would make significant money just by selling the lot. But what we really want to do is to hold them for long-term rental income. So our passive rental income, which is, if you like, not completely passive, so my whole portfolio I manage effectively myself with a team. It takes me around 5 hours a week to manage. The whole portfolio brings in around just over £25,000 net per calendar month after all the mortgages have been paid and after all the kind of repairs and maintenance that's been carried out. So I think maybe we should go out and look at some of those properties now. Would you like to do that?